Chapter 6, 190. A Commotion in Northern Plains, a Wisdom Path Inheritance. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. In the quiet room at the third branch peak of Snowy Mountain. It was fine weather outside, clear blue sky, refreshing air, and tall, white, snowy mountains combined to form a tranquil and boundless view. The fragrance of tea filled the quiet room. Fang Yuan was gasping as he lay down with his body full of injuries. Thin streams of zombie blood flowed out from the wounds and accumulated on the ground. However, he did not care and also did not feel any pain. 7 minutes had gone by already since he had closed his eyes to rest. Besides him, there were 3 others in the quiet room. Tai Bai Yun Sheng was standing next to Fang Yuan, quickly moving his hands, emitting rays of black light that were healing Fang Yuan's injuries. Fairy Li Shan was sitting at her old spot beside the window, absent-mindedly brewing tea, while most of her attention was focused on He Lu Lan, who was beside her. He Lu Lan was sitting cross-legged with her eyes closed. Her face looked solemn and respectful, like a jade statue. There were 3 steps in Immortal ascension: shattering the aperture, receiving Qi, and releasing Go. She had completed the first 2 steps when undergoing tribulation in the icy plain, and after returning to the quiet room using fixed immortal travel, she had started the 3rd step. With her foundation, the creation of her immortal aperture was a settled matter. Right now, she was probably refining immortal goo in her immortal aperture and resisting the heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity formed in there. By the looks of it, she was going to complete this step alone and did not want an outsider's help. However, if there was any problem, He Lu Lan would immediately ask for help. Fang Yuan, Fairy Li Shan, and Tai Bai Yun Sheng would have to quickly enter He Lu Lan's immortal aperture and resist the heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity. By the time the tea was boiling and gurgling, He Lu Lan let out a breath of turbid air and slowly opened her eyes. This movement immediately attracted the other 3's gazes. Fairy Li Shan stopped brewing and placed the teapot down in a hurry, asking in concern, "Success?" He Lu Lan nodded. Fairy Li Shan took a deep breath, her eyes reddened as she spoke in a choked voice filled with excitement and relief. "Little Lan, you have the great strength, true martial physique, and now have succeeded in becoming an immortal. You possess a super-grade blessed land and have extraordinary potential. Truly, after a dark cloud comes a clear sky. If Sister knew of this in the afterlife, she would certainly be happy." When an ordinary Gu master advanced to Gu Immortal, their blessed land could be classified into one of 3 grades: high, middle, or low. When one of the 10 extreme physiques advanced to Gu Immortal, they would be taking an enormous risk and naturally would have bigger gains. If their immortal ascension succeeded, their blessed land would be a super-grade blessed land. High-grade blessed lands were formed with a size of 4,700 square kilometers to 6,000 square kilometers, drew in a large tributary of the river of time and created over 30 beads of immortal essence. There would be plenty of heaven and earth Qi remaining, which could mutually interact and refine the vital Gu and core Gu into immortal Gu. Super-grade blessed lands were even larger, with a territory of over 6,700 square kilometers. The tributary of the river of time it drew in would be gigantic, and the amount of green grape immortal essence created would surpass 50 beads. If there was nothing unexpected, it could create at least 2 immortal Gu. He Lu Lan appeared tranquil. "I have succeeded in advancing to Gu Immortal, but have yet to kill that old scumbag." Her indifferent tone contained a deep and piercing hatred. "Oh, He Lu Lan, I hate to be blunt, but the chances of killing He Chung with only the 4 of us, even if he is alone, are rather low." Tai Bai Yun Sheng coughed and said, "Right, defeating a Gu Immortal is easy, but killing is another thing altogether." Fang Yuan heaved a deep sigh as he stood up. The injuries on his body had essentially healed. Previously, in his battle with Gu Immortal Plump Lady in Western Desert, he had obtained superiority, but Plump Lady had still escaped. This time, he battled He Chung and Shua Songzi. His phantom army had taken the lead and were able to wreak havoc, but they couldn't trap the two Gu Immortals and could only let them retreat safely. Miri itself was strong, but there was nothing to be done about it if the enemy did not engage you head-on. Gu Immortals were smart and knew to avoid the enemy's strong points. In truth, Fang Yuan's second battle with He Chung could only be considered a draw. It was true that Fang Yuan had the upper hand, but it was hard to maintain this dominance for long. If the time was stretched on, the strength path phantoms would dissipate, and it would then be He Chung's turn to counterattack. This immortal killer move indeed could build up to a big advantage, but not to the extent of being at complete dominance against He Chung. Thus, when He Lu Lan said to retreat, Fang Yuan did not oppose. He stopped at the right time and activated fixed immortal travel, bringing them back here. He Lu Lan looked at Fang Yuan and gave a slight smile. To be able to succeed this time in resisting the enemy and allowing me to pass the tribulation is thanks to your strength. Since we are allies, we naturally need to help each other out. A sharp light flashed through Fang Yuan's eyes. He helped He Lu Lan this time, and when Immortal Crane Sect attacks Hu Immortal Blessed Land later, they would also have to help Fang Yuan according to the alliance agreement. It involved reciprocity and mutual benefits for both sides. According to the previous agreement, here is small family Qi Gu's recipe. Also, of the 30 immortal essence stones I lent, you only need to return half. Fairy Li Shan spoke. She by now had a hint of Fang Yuan's nature. Only tangible benefits matched his tastes. Fang Yuan accepted the recipe for small family Qi Gu, then sighed. In this battle, I won and also lost, consuming over 60 green grape immortal essence. The 15 immortal essence stones I owe you, I'm afraid it might take some time for me to return them. Fairy Li Shan was in a good mood because of He Lu Lan's success in advancing. She immediately stated, "No need to hurry. Whenever your circumstances are better, you can return them to me, and I also won't collect any interest on them. Also, didn't you ask us about wisdom path inheritances? Could it be that you have some clues?" Fang Yuan was pleasantly surprised. Fairy Li Shan slowly said, "There is a clue. You are also aware of Northern Plains' #1 wisdom path, Gu Immortal, Dongfang Chang Fan's death some months ago. He left behind an intact wisdom path inheritance for his successor, Dongfang Yuliang. But Dongfang Yuliang is only immortal, and it will be hard for him to preserve a Gu Immortal inheritance, especially when this inheritance is a wisdom path inheritance." According to the tip-off, Dongfang Chang Fan has placed this wisdom path inheritance in a hidden place, and even Dongfang tribe's other Gu Immortals don't know about its exact position. Only Dongfang Yuliang holds the key clue. Even though just before his death, Dongfang Chang Fan had formed a non-aggression pact with Huangjin tribes and other superforces. However, he had not formed an agreement with demonic path Gu Immortals. His capability had not reached the point where it could sweep through both righteous and demonic, Dongfang Chang. Fan's wisdom path inheritance had already attracted the covetous gazes of many demonic path Gu Immortals. Even Dongfang tribe's other Gu Immortals had some thoughts on it. Thus, Dongfang Chang Fan made these arrangements, completely hiding his wisdom path inheritance and leaving it to only his approved successor, Dongfang Yuliang. Fang Yuan was forced to think, I have the wisdom path immortal Gu delight in water and mountain, but my use of it is crude at best, and I am unable to display the essence of wisdom path. Treasure Yellow Heaven has wisdom path Gu worms on sale, but a complete wisdom path inheritance would never be on sale. Wisdom path Gu worms are easy to obtain, while wisdom path inheritances are rather hard to get. If I can obtain this complete wisdom path inheritance, I believe I will be able to use fewer wills and thoughts to deduce more items. Dongfang Chang. Fan was the #1 Gu Immortal of Wisdom Path in Northern Plains while he was alive. His inheritance would naturally arouse Fang Yuan's interest. But lying in front of Fang Yuan was a super force, the Colossus Dongfang tribe. Dongfang tribe had lost Dongfang Chang Fan, but it still had several Gu Immortals to maintain the situation. On the contrary, Fang Yuan had just been in an intense battle with He Chung and spent most of his green grape immortal essence. It was not possible for him to display the same mighty presence of the myriad self-army in a short while. Right now, many demonic path Gu immortals have already allied in secret to conspire for Dongfang Changfan's wisdom path inheritance. Back when Dongfang Changfan was alive, both the righteous and demonic path of Northern Plains suffered losses from him. Many were schemed against and suffered setbacks under his hands. Reportedly, his successor, Dongfang Yuliang, has talents and aptitude as strong as Dongfang Changfan's. Most of Northern Plains Gu immortals are not willing to see a second Dongfang Changfan, Fairy Lishan continued. Several months ago, some demonic path Gu immortals already sought me out to use my Mountain Pledge Gu to reach a temporary alliance in their scheme for the Wisdom Path inheritance. But I had already made an alliance agreement with Dongfang Changfan by then and could not make any moves against Dongfang tribe. Fang Yuan, if you want, I can act as go-between and let you join this alliance. They would have a lot more detailed information and will be of great help to you when you contend for the inheritance. Fang Yan did not refuse but also did not immediately agree. I need some time to consider. There is no hurry, He Lu Lan said. Right now, the biggest news in Northern Plains is the matter of Qin Bai Sheng capturing Ma Hong Yun and Zhao Lian Yun, holding the essence of the luck path true inheritance. This matter has already caused a commotion among most of the Gu immortals of Northern Plains. Even those rank 8 old monsters are said to have come out of their seclusions. He Lu Lan revealed a ridiculing expression. Hey, Qin Bai Sheng is a rank 7 Gu immortal, an expert among lone cultivators, having overpowering metal path battle strength and even being somewhat stronger than that old scoundrel He Chung. But this luck path true inheritance is a thorny matter. Almost all of Northern Plains Gu immortals are looking to deal with him. Right now, Gu immortals from all around are rushing over, while Qin Bai Sheng is a lone force, and even though he occupies a blessed land, there will be countless difficulties for him in resisting these assaults. His life will certainly be quite hard. A cold light vaguely flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes before he muttered, We are the survivors of the wind veil of assimilation. Ma Hong Yun and Zhao Lian Yun were also involved in the event. Although they escaped early, they know about us and are barriers for us to move freely in Northern Plains. Since the destruction of Imperial Court blessed land and the collapse of 88 True Yang Building, formless hands had carried many immortal Gu to all parts of Northern Plains, causing chaos, commotion, and frequent battles in the world of Northern Plains Gu immortals. Afterwards, when most of the escaped wild immortal Gu had been captured, the situation had calmed somewhat. Now, however, the news of Qin Bai Sheng capturing Ma and Zhao caused undercurrents revolving around Qin Bai Sheng to surge in Northern Plains, and the luck path true inheritance slowly formed tiny waves. As time passed, these tiny waves would definitely evolve into a huge storm that would engulf the whole of Northern Plains. Fang Yuan, compared to other Gu immortals, had much more reason to be involved in this. However, his current strength appeared rather weak in front of such an enormous storm. Without speaking any further, Fang Yuan took his leave and returned to Hu Immortal Blessed Land alone. Tai Bai Yun Sheng remained here to heal He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan had passed the tribulation of her immortal Gu. Her immortal aperture was in ruins and required Tai Bai Yun Sheng's landscape as before.